Welcome back to another interview here from America Fest. I am with Stevie, and pronounce your last name for me, Steve.
Giorno.
Giorno. Okay, great. So Stevie grew up in Illinois, yep, and now you're a resident of Tennessee, and you've been working with Marsha Blackburn, correct? Yep, and so tell me about America Fest, why you're here, why your whole family's moved out of Illinois now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that background and what precipitated the move, why you're here, just a little bit about your story. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me. It's great to be at America Fest with so many America First patriots. In the 1950s, my grandparents escaped from communist Yugoslavia, went to Ellis Island, legally immigrated, went to New York, and then as many Croatian and Italian people do, went to Chicago to the rest of our family. And then when they passed in 2014, my parents made the decision to move to Brentwood, Tennessee, which is about 20 minutes south of Nashville. And there were a lot of reasons for it. First and foremost, it is a supermajority Republican state. We have, I think, 70-some out of 99 state representatives. We have 27 out of 33 state senators who are Republican. We have a Republican governor. We have 2 Republican senators. And now, after redistricting, 8 of our 9 United States congressmen are Republican. We have no state income tax, and we are a very pro-business friendly state. And we wanted to escape the craziness of Chicago, specifically.
Sure. So when people like Daily Wire moves their entire operation out of California to Tennessee, then you know something is happening in Tennessee that's right.
And I think a lot of that is because most of our elected officials are businessmen. They understand what works in an economy and what doesn't. You know, you look at Chicago, New York, California, and you see people leaving in droves. And I think that's really telling. And what they do is they raise taxes, and then more people leave.
Yep.
Arizona, Texas, Florida, Tennessee. So it is very, very fortunate that we in Tennessee, our ratio of people moving for every one liberal is 2 conservatives. And we're very fortunate that we're able to maintain our growth, but not have liberals come and change our state.
So what are you doing now?
So a few weeks ago, I was elected Tennessee Young Republican Chair.
That's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
Thank you very
amazing.
much.
So do you, okay, in a way, let's just step back from that a minute. Do you feel in a way that you're almost like the immigrant that comes from a dictatorship, okay? And you know you've been under oppression to some degree. You've been taxed to death, right? And so you go there knowing that you do not want the place that you are now choosing to make your home to fall the same way. So you almost become, sometimes the converts are the best apologetics to the faith,
Absolutely.
right? And so you're sort of in that realm, right?
I am.
You've been, you know what it looks like in Illinois. You've lived under that. Your parents have. You go to Tennessee and you're like, okay, now you're the chairman, literally the chairman of the YRs for the Republicans.
Absolutely. You know, I feel very similar to how my grandparents did when they came from Yugoslavia. And I remember growing up, my grandfather was alive until I was 14, so I got to learn a lot about communism and socialism and fascism from him. And one of the things I think I'm able to do, being from Chicago, going to Tennessee, is relate to people and pass down the stories of what censorship is and what authoritarianism. And, you know, of course, in Illinois, it's very, very difficult to have firearms. In Tennessee, you show them your license, they do a background check, and we have constitutional carry. If you want to carry going to the store, you don't need a permit to do that anymore as of last year. And that is so important.
But tell me, crime's out of control, right, in Tennessee?
Well, just specifically in Memphis. In
Yeah,
Memphis,
Memphis is a
it's
problem.
bad, you know, unfortunately.
It is.
Nashville, with the growth we're having and the weak leadership from our mayor, who is a Democrat, and our DA, who is a Democrat, they are not very big on enforcing the law like the rest of the counties throughout the state of Tennessee, and you can see that in the crime statistics.
Okay, so do you find that the YRs in Tennessee, are they active? Is it kind of I think that the young kids are very busy, especially in college, and they just have other interests. Or do you find that they are easily attracted to joining a group like that? A lot of those folks would. You know what? I got my, fantasy football league. I'm more in tune with them than I am really like into politics. So, is it hard to attract young folks to that message to even get involved in politics? Period.
I think that while it is hard to get some people involved, it is getting so bad throughout our country, and so many people, specifically Tennesseans whose parents have lived there their entire lives, their grandparents, multi-generational families, they are the most active because they want to preserve what we have in Tennessee. With young Republicans, we have prioritized this year. We were going to recruit. We're going to go to colleges. We're going to go to high schools. We're going to go to churches. We're going to go to gun stores. And we are going to try to grow the numbers. And we're going to focus on training so that we're able to make our people activists like the other side has, because they are so effective at protesting and doing all these things, and we need to match their levels to maintain what we have in Tennessee and grow in the states that we've been losing in.
So the Democrats have had a real advantage of attracting the youth to their messaging, which I actually, quite frankly, don't understand, because I think of the youth as more free thinking, truthfully, and less, and less wanting to, just toe a party line. You would think that they're more free thinking. That's not how I feel. But from that standpoint, do you find that the Democrats, when it comes to the youth, have an advantage in Tennessee, or is it because it's such a conservative state that they don't?
Well, I think fortunately with our demographic, we have so many conservatives, and we have so many conservatives moving in. However, like I said earlier, for every 2 conservatives we have one liberal, and usually it's the kid. The 2 parents escaping California, Illinois, New York, they're conservative. They understand why it did not work back home. But then their children are usually liberal. And so what we have focused on is educating people, but it's very hard to do it when you're promised free college, even though you and I, the working people of America, are going to pay for it, and all these other wonderful promises of free this, free that. Well, someone has to pay for it. And, if you look at all the stimulus money we've gotten in the past few years, we have had to pay that back with interest. Significantly more.
All right, just give me the top 3 messages that you think resonate with the youth today. Is it student loan bailouts? What is it? The cancel culture. When you're trying to attract somebody and you got 30 seconds to do it, and you want them to, consider becoming a YR, or what's your top messaging?
Well, I would say particularly in Middle Tennessee, where we've had record growth of people moving, our housing prices have skyrocketed. The rent, Nashville and Middle Tennessee are becoming one of the most difficult areas to afford. And so that is definitely first and foremost. Inflation, of course, is majorly contributing to that. And then, of course, the interest rates, they're causing a really big issue with people who are trying to, fresh out of college, they get a well-paying job, but they're either going to go rent, and all that money is going to be given to someone, and they're not going to have any equity out of it, or they're unable to put down a down payment, they're unable to make their mortgage payments. So that, I would say, is first and foremost the largest. Secondly, of course, student loans, trying to find a solution. But in Tennessee, we have so many government grants from our state. We always have a surplus in our budget every year, and so much money goes to Tennessee Hope Scholarship and all these other grants and scholarships to where students, if they go to state schools, end up saving a lot of money, and they're able to do that, or after high school they're able to go to trade school for 2 years and the state pays for it.
That's
so
awesome.
We don't have any shortage of electricians, plumbers like you do in all these other major cities.
Oh, wow. Just great policies. I actually think Illinois is going to only be saved by other states basically beating us, and people waking up enough to say, no. Do what Tennessee's doing. You want me to stay here? Do what they're doing, because that's the only way forward. So last question here. You're young Republicans, and I've been to young Republicans meetings, and I tell you what, there's a lot of old Republicans that show up at young Republican meetings, mainly to support, but there's a lot of elected officials too. So you've got, and when I grew up in South Dakota, I was a teenage Republicans. So you have teenage Republicans, college Republicans, young Republicans. What is a young Republican? How is it different from the other groups?
So a young Republican is anyone age 18 to 40.
18 to 40,
in Tennessee, our young Republicans, in this past year, we have started this new program to where if you are a college Republican, you can join the Tennessee Young Republicans for no cost. You can be a full member, come to any event, any monthly meeting. So we have worked really closely with our college Republicans, and a big way we're going to be recruiting this year is in Knoxville for UT football games, in Nashville for Vanderbilt games, in Memphis for Memphis games. We are going to be going to the tailgates for football games, for basketball games, for Titans games, and we are going to outreach to all of these people like the fraternities and the sororities do, and we're gonna rent a bar. We're gonna invite people, and if they join Young Republicans, they're welcome to come and network and meet people. And one of the great things about Tennessee is we have so many businesses moving that we were able to connect our people. If they want to do investment banking, we can get investment banking. If they want to go into politics, we can connect them to political figures. If they want to work in other businesses, skilled trades, we could recommend their businesses. So there's so many different avenues for people to succeed, not just in the political sense, but also like in a Rotary, where it's a networking business community to help fellow members.
Okay, all right. I said that was the last question. I lied. Okay, one more thing. Okay, so College Republicans, TPUSA. Any competition there or no?
No, and I think that it's very unfortunate.
Since
some
we
states,
are here at America
some
Fest.
states there are, when I was in college Republicans and Turning Point, went to went to SAS all the time.
Yep.
They have been very supportive in Tennessee of coming to all of our Young Republican events, and I think that's where a lot of people, with so many conservative groups, there's always the sense of competition, but really we're all working for the same limited government, pro-freedom, more guns, and so I think that it's really crucial that if we want to succeed, we all need to work together. If you look at the Democrats, they don't have a million groups. They're all lockstep together. Unfortunately, we have different groups where if you're an international relations focused person, there's a group for you. If you're America First, there's a group for you. So there's so many different groups, but we all have to come together after the primary and support the Republican nominee. And so it's great to be here. Very thankful for all the work Turning Point does, particularly with high schools in Tennessee. That's where they've had so much growth.
Wonderful.
So much growth. And we're very thankful they're able to get people involved so early. And then they will come to Young Republicans and start door knocking and phone banking and attending our events.
Okay, Stevie, just give us some contact information if people want to connect with you.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, our Tennessee Young Republican Federation is on Instagram and Facebook. And then on Instagram, I'm on as Stevie Giorno and as Facebook.
All right.
On Facebook is Stevie Giorno.
Terrific. All right. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you very much. Great seeing you.
All right, you too.
Thank you. That was awesome.